Okay, so we're going to get started. So today's Fit and 30 with V, that's me, and on Instagram we've got Chilling, if you're watching it via Instagram. It's all to do with the spine. And we're going to move the spine in all its different directions. But first of all, I just want to have a little mention about the spine. If I turn sideways, you just stay as you are, but if I turn sideways, let me just talk about the spine. We've got the tailbone down here. And then we've got a little triangular bone right at the base of the spine called the sacrum. And that bone is fused. It doesn't move. It doesn't twist. It doesn't turn. It doesn't fold forwards or bend backwards. And so we've got to take care of this sacrum. So we don't want to try and get movement, any kind of twisting in this part of the spine. Then we have the lumbar spine here, where we normally have a little natural inward curve. Okay, then we have the thoracic spine, which is between the shoulder blades. And then we have the cervical spine, which is the neck. So always remember the neck is an extension of your spine. Now, the areas of the spine that tend to be the most flexible are your lumbar, your lower back, and your neck. The bit of the spine that tends to be a bit more stiff tends to be the bit between the shoulder blades here. So sometimes what can happen is if we're particularly stiff in this thoracic spine between our shoulder blades, we compensate by overarching in the lower back or overarching in the back of the neck. And that's what makes the neck and the lower back very vulnerable in a lot of exercises. So we've just got to make a note of that we don't overmove in the lower back and the neck, compensating for the lack of movement in that thoracic spine. All right, and to keep the spine nice and healthy, we need to move it in all its different directions. But before we move the spine, we need to create space between the vertebrae. What we don't want is have the vertebrae pressing against one another and then you're trying to force it into a twist or a full bend and those bones are grinding together. So we do need to be aware of that. So if we just start by sitting, wiggling the hips back, bring the hands to the side of you where your arms are super relaxed. And let's start by elongating the spine. So as you sit and root through those sitting bones, you start to get a sensation of lifting. And to lift up through the spine, we need to engage our core muscles, our lower, mid, upper back muscles. And then we feel that sensation of space being created between the vertebra. With the neck, we need to gently draw the chin back. What we don't want is jutting the chin forwards. We want to gently draw the chin back and then have a sensation of being hooked up by the base of the skull here and out through the crown of the head. And then as we get this feeling of elongating up through the spine, we want to let everything around the spine melt away. So just let the jaw relax, let the shoulders relax, let your hips release. And we always breathe in to elongate the spine. And we always exhale when we let go of unnecessary effort and unnecessary tension. So let's relax the jaw and let's focus on the cervical spine for a moment, the neck. Okay, I want you to exhale and bring your chin down towards your chest. Let your shoulders drop away from the ears and feel the stretch in the back of the neck and the tops of your shoulders. And then as you inhale, bring your head back to the center. Keep the jaw relaxed. As you exhale, take a gentle gaze up. We're not throwing the head back, it's a gentle gaze up. And then inhale, bring it back to the center. As we exhale, let's turn the head to look over the right shoulder. Now let the opposite shoulder, the left shoulder, melt down. And then inhale and come back round to the center. As you exhale, gently turn the head to look over your left shoulder and let your right shoulder melt down. And again, inhale and bring that back to the center. And then as you exhale, tilt the right ear to the right shoulder and let the left shoulder drop. Keeping the jaw relaxed and inhale back to the center. As you exhale, tilt the left ear to the left shoulder, let the right shoulder drop. And then inhale and back to the center. Now imagine you've got a little dimple there in the center of your chin and circle. So draw circles with your chin, keeping the jaw relaxed. Good, and then we'll circle that the other way. And then we're going to come back to the center. Let's inhale and take the right arm up. So as we inhale, create that lifting up through your spine. And then as we exhale, come over to the side and feel the stretch on the right side of the waist. So we're taking the spine laterally, sideways. Inhale, back to the center, and exhale, bring the arm down. So as we inhale, take the left arm up, then lift up through the spine. And then as you exhale, take a lateral extension of the spine over to the right, stretching the left side of the waist. And then inhale back to the center and exhale down. Take your hands behind, link your fingers. Now inhale, lift your heart, draw your shoulder blades together and gaze up, getting some movement in that thoracic spine. Exhale, round through the shoulders, drop the chin in. Again, stretching across the upper back and shoulder blades. Inhale, raise the arms above your head, palms facing the sky. And exhale, bring the arms back down to the side. Now place the left hand in front and the right hand by your tailbone. Now as you inhale, elongate up through your spine again. As you exhale, you start to gently turn from just below your rib cage to the right. Then you take another breath in and you elongate up through the spine to create space between the vertebra. And then as you exhale, start to turn the chest and the shoulders. As you inhale, draw your chin back and lift from the base of your skull. And as you exhale, turn your head to look over your right shoulder. And then we're going to pause here for a couple more breaths. All right, so whenever we twist, we do not want to twist that sacrum, that triangular bone at the base of the spine. We want movement in the middle here. And always move from each vertebra like you're going up a spiral staircase. So the last thing to move will be the head and the neck. And twists are really good for the health of your spine. Let's inhale, come back round to the center. Let's place the right hand in front, the left hand behind. So before you even consider twisting, you must breathe in and create that space between your vertebra. And then as you exhale, you start to gently turn from just below the rib cage. You pause. You take another breath in and elongate the spine. And then as you exhale, you turn from the upper body above the rib cage. Take another breath in, draw your chin back and lift from the base of your skull. And now as you exhale, turn and look over your left shoulder. And then we pause here. Now when we twist, we start to get the circulation flowing around the spine and all the nerves and everything around the spine. So nourishing the spine with oxygenated blood, nourishing the nervous system, and getting some mobility in that spine. And then we're going to inhale and we'll slowly come back around to the center. So we've taken the spine sideways, forwards, back, twisted. We're going to come into a deeper forward fold. So again, as you inhale, you need the space. You elongate. And then as you exhale, send the heart forwards, not your shoulders, send your heart forwards. And then the arms can come forwards when you're ready. And then you can let your neck go. Every time you breathe in, lift up a little and elongate the spine. As you exhale, come forwards from your heart. And let the neck go. Keep that flow. So as you breathe in, you get a little bit of a lift. And then as you exhale, you relax forwards. And again, as you inhale, you get a bit of length in the spine. And then as you exhale, you relax forwards. So let the arms relax. Often what people do when they fold forwards is they reach their arms out like this and lift the shoulders up. We're not trying to get anywhere with the hands. We're trying to come forwards from the heart. And then we're going to inhale and slowly come up. Now cross the legs the other way around. So put the other one in front. And then we do the same again. So you inhale and elongate your spine. Then as you exhale, you come forwards from your heart center. Let the arms relax. Use your breathing. Elongate the spine on the inhale. And relax forwards as you exhale. And again, elongate the spine on the inhale. And relax forwards as you exhale. We'll do 2 more breaths here. Use your breathing to get into the posture. Nice stretch along the spine. One more breath. And then we're going to inhale and come up. So we've taken the spine forwards. Let's do the opposite. Let's take it back. Let's take the legs out in front. Bring your feet together. I'm going to turn sideways, but you don't have to turn sideways. You can stay facing the front. We're going to point the toes away. We're going to pull the kneecaps up. We're going to lean back into the hands. Now get your fingers pointing forwards. Now draw your elbows towards one another and contract the muscles in your upper back and draw your shoulder blades together. And then send your heart up towards the sky. So we need to be strong in this thoracic spine. This is where we need movement up here. And we don't want to overcompensate in the lower back and the neck. So to get the lift in the chest, we have to bring the elbows together, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then lift up. So you're lifting up from your heart. Keep your chin in. So really start to open up your chest to come into a subtle back bend in the thoracic spine. You have to open across your chest. And if you're feeling strong, you can push away from the floor, lift the hips and engage the glutes. And if you're comfortable with it, you can surrender the head back and relax the jaw. So you've got to be very strong in the upper back, upper body, in the glutes, in the back of the body to open up the front of the body. Couple more breaths here. Nice and strong. If you get tired, rest back here and open the chest there instead. So really lift that chest up, everybody. And we'll release. Okay, we're going to slide the right leg up, flex the left foot. So flexing the foot means toes towards you rather than pointing. So toes towards you. Slide the right foot up, have a little gap between the right foot and the left thigh. And then we're going to take the right hand behind. We're going to inhale, lift up the spine, take the left hand across. And then as you exhale, you're going to gently turn to the right. And pause there. As you breathe in, elongate the spine. As you exhale, see if you can move a little deeper into your twist. Now, if it's comfortable, what you can also do is bring the left hand across the body. Bring it across the body. See how that feels? If it's comfortable, you can bring that left hand to the foot. Try and keep the shoulders melting away from the ears. So just coming into a slightly deeper twist now. Try and keep the knees and toes pointing up towards the sky. And then we're going to slowly unfold and come back around, taking both legs out in front. And then we'll slide the left leg up. Try and sit nice and tall. And then when you're ready, take the left hand behind. Flex that right foot. Make sure the toe's not pointing. Flex the foot. Take the right hand to the outside of that left thigh. Inhale, sit tall. So get that lift rather than this slump. And then as you exhale, start to turn the torso to the left. Keep breathing. Inhaling, elongating up through your spine. As you exhale, turning the torso to the left. Now, if it's comfortable, you can take your right arm up and over that left leg. Try and keep the shoulder releasing away from the ear. If it's comfortable, you can try and bring your right hand to your left foot. Okay, keep breathing. It's a much deeper twist here. And if we stiffen our thoracic spine, we do struggle with our twists, all right? So go where you're comfortable. Don't feel you have to force anything. One more breath. And then we're going to inhale and we're going to slowly, slowly come out. Good. Let's come over to our hands and knees. We're going to do cat-cow stretches. Now, these stretches are stretches where people, again, overcompensate if there's not a lot of movement in the thoracic spine by overarching the lower back and overarching your neck. So you've got to be careful with that, okay? Come to your hands and knees. So we've got a nice long spine at the moment. And then as we exhale, we tuck the tailbone under and we start to round up through the back. So you get a nice stretch across your shoulder blades, chin in. And then as you inhale, tilt the tailbone up towards the sky, elongate the spine and send the heart forwards. Now, don't overly dip in the lower back or overly throw your head back. So as you exhale, tuck the tailbone under, start to pull up through the navel and round up through the spine, push away from the floor. And then on the inhale, start to tilt the pelvis forwards, lift the sitting bones, and send the heart forwards again. Keep that flowing. So tucking the tailbone under, rounding up through the spine, rotating the pelvis forwards and elongating through the spine. Now keep it flowing and pay particular attention to the space between your shoulder blades. Let's get lots of movement and flexibility there in that thoracic spine. So on the inhale, send the heart forwards. And then on the exhale, lift up between your shoulder blades. Cat-cow stretches. Let's do a few more of these. Flowing with your breathing starts to create heat in the body. And then when we've got heat in the body, we start to warm the muscles around the vertebra. We start to improve the circulation around the spine. Let's do a couple more. Let's do one more of these. Good. And then we're going to sit back. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the toes together and we're going to take the knees nice and wide. And then we'll reach the arms out in front of us and we'll rest our forehead down. So try and think about getting some length here into your spine. So if you imagine your spine at the moment nice and long. And then what I want you to do is lift your head up and walk your hands over to the left and then rest your forehead down again. So we're taking the spine into a bit of a C shape, a sideways extension, a lateral extension, and you should feel a nice stretch down the right side of your waist. So just relax here for a couple of breaths. And then lift your head up and walk your hands over to the right side. And again, rest your forehead down. So feel a nice stretch on the left side of the waist. And then walk the hands back. And we'll come back up onto our hands and knees. And we're going to come into a stretch called puppy pose. So what we're going to do is, from the hands and knees, we're going to keep our hips directly above our knees here and a nice right angle at the knees. And we're going to walk the forearms out in front of us and rest the forehead down. And try and get lots of length from the tailbone to the crown of your head. So give that a go. Keep the hips directly above your knees. Walk the forearms out. Keep the elbows on the floor there. Open up your shoulders and get length in your spine. Keep the navel drawn up towards the spine so you don't over dip in the lower back. So remember, we've always got to take care of our neck and our lumbar spine. And we'll just stay here for a couple of breaths. And then from there, we're going to walk back and we're going to lengthen the spine in downward facing dog. So we're going to spread the fingers nice and wide, get the shoulders directly above the wrist. Now this time, instead of the knees being underneath the hips, move them slightly back, tuck your toes under and have your feet hip bone distance apart. Now we're going to keep the knees bent, but what we're going to do is we're going to push through the arms, keeping the knees bent and sending the chest to the thighs and sending the hips up high. So try that. Okay, so what you're trying to do is get length in the spine, the knees are bent, you're high on the balls of the feet, you're pushing the chest towards your thighs. And then from here, we'll start to straighten the legs by walking through the feet one at a time. Now, if you've got tight hamstrings, it'll force your tailbone to tuck under and you'll lose the long spine. You'll end up rounding your back. So you might need to keep your knees a little bit bent, or you may be able to straighten your legs. Don't worry if you can't straighten them. Don't worry if the heels are up off the floor. Don't worry if your knees are bent. What I want you to try and get is a long spine. And then from this downward facing dog pose, we're going to walk to the hands and we're going to slowly come up into standing. All right. So we're going to bring the feet together and we're going to stand nice and tall. Now, let's think about how the weight's distributed over the soles of our feet. First of all, we've got to make sure our big toes are level. We haven't got one slightly ahead of the other. Okay. Then we want to spread the toes really, really wide. And we want to make sure that the weight is evenly spread between the ball of the foot, the little toe side, and the two bits either side of the heels. What we don't want is to roll out or roll in, sink back or sink forwards. So be aware that the weight's evenly spread over the four corners, I call them the four corners of your feet. And then you start to get a gentle feeling of lifting as you root through the feet. You want to lift up through the spine. Now we've got a natural curve here to the lower back, but I just want you to think about your pelvis at the moment. We don't want it overly tilting forwards and we don't want it overly tucking under. So just rock it forwards and back a few times. Imagine that your pelvis is like a bowl full of water. We don't want to tilt it forwards and have the water pouring out the front. We don't want to tilt it that way and have the water pouring out the back. We want to get a nice neutral position. And then if we elongate up through the spine, the navel subtly draws back and the core muscles engage. And then we want to continue that feeling of lifting up through the spine. We want to draw the chin back and gently lift up from the base of the skull and out through the crown of the head. And the palms face slightly forwards. So internally, we have this straight line running up through the center of the body, but we've got a natural curve to the back of the neck and a natural curve here to the lower back. All right, now take your feet about hip bone distance apart. So widen your feet a little bit and we're going to do some roll downs. So for the roll downs, we literally move one vertebra at a time. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring the chin to the chest here. So we're starting with the cervical spine here. We drop the chin to the chest. Now take a nice full breath in. And then as you exhale from the top of the spine, bend your knees. And one vertebra at a time, start to slowly roll down. Now bend the knees quite a bit and then keep yourself going, maybe until you rest on your thighs or maybe until you get your fingertips to the floor. And then really let the spine and the neck release. You can have a little sway side to side. Everything release. And then to come back up, we push away from the floor through the feet. Now take your attention to your tailbone first. So as we slowly come up, we stack each vertebra on top of the one below. So the last thing to unfold will be your shoulders and then your neck. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to roll over the right leg. So bend the knees, turn the torso slightly to your right, tuck the chin in. Now take a full breath in. And now as you exhale, you're going to slowly roll down from the top of the spine. And this time we're slowly folding over the right thigh. Get yourself maybe to the floor, let the neck relax and just move your head around side to side, forwards and back. Let the spine fully release. And then to come out of it, take your awareness to your tailbone. Start to slowly stack the vertebrae on top of one another, remembering that the shoulders and the neck come up last. And then turn the torso to the left. Tuck your chin in. Full breath in. As you exhale, bend the knees and start to roll down one vertebra at a time. We're coming over the left thigh this time. This is a really nice way of releasing your spine. If you sit for long periods of time at your desk, a couple of things you could take away from this is the neck exercises at the beginning and this roll down. And then from here, again, keep the chin in, keep the shoulders relaxed as you slowly come back up. And unroll the neck. Okay, we're going to go into a balance because balance is strengthening the core. All right. And we need a nice strong core and a nice strong lower back to protect the vulnerable area, the lumbar spine. Okay. So let's think about length from the pubic bone to the breastbone. Let's think about our navel pulling to our spine. Let's bring the hands to the heart here. Balancing on your right foot, extend the left leg back. Now let's keep all of this length and start to relax into this balance, hinging forwards from your hips. Keeping the navel up. Now don't feel you have to get into a horizontal position. All right, do your best. So potentially you could be here at about 45 degrees. You could try and get to 180 degrees here. What I don't want to see is this though, rounding. Yeah, I want to see length from the tailbone to the crown of the head, navel pulling up. So the core is going to engage. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. See if you can pause here for a couple more breaths. And then we'll slowly, slowly come up. And then we'll try the other side. Okay, so take that other leg back. Get lots of extension. You've got to imagine this energy flow going from the heel to the crown of the head. Navel pulling to spine so your core is engaged. And then start to pick it up. And then you can start to hinge forwards. Try and keep your hips level. Make sure that hip doesn't rotate out. So try and keep your hips as level as possible. All right, keep pushing away from the floor through the balancing foot. Keep the navel up. If you're a bit wobbly today, you just come into this position. Keep the back of the neck long. So we're balancing, we're strengthening the core here. Let's stay here for a couple more breaths. Okay, and release. All right, let's come and line our front. So come down to the floor, adjust your camera if you need to. All right, and relax for a moment. Let's point the toes away. Have the feet about hip bone distance apart and point your toes away. And then to protect the lower back here, we need to press our hips into our mat. What we don't want, if you look at my lower back at the moment, what we don't ever want to do is shorten between the waist here and the tailbone. We don't want that area pinching. We don't want to have this pinching here. This needs to be long, all right? So to keep that long, we need to press the hips down so that the tailbone doesn't lift towards the waist. So push your hips into your mat. Come to your forearms. Take your arms where they feel comfortable, where you're not shrugging your shoulders. So feel like you're pulling your shoulders away from your ears there. And then the back of the neck stays long. And then as you inhale, imagine breathing from the tailbone up through your spine and you gently lift. Now, when you lift, what often happens is if people don't have much movement in their thoracic spine, like I mentioned previously, what they do is they throw their head back like that. And that pinches in the back of the neck, and that is not good for your neck, all right? So that's what I was mentioning earlier. You've got to keep the neck an extension of your spine. So imagine the shape of your spine and your neck just follows that natural line. So let's come back down. So as you breathe in, lengthen the spine, lift up, shoulders away from the ears, and then as you exhale, you're going to come back down again. So as you inhale, elongate the spine, create space between the vertebrae and lift up. We don't want the vertebrae rubbing against one another. And then exhale and come back down. And again, inhale, lengthen the spine, gently lift. And exhale down. Now we're going to try taking the left arm in front and we're going to try grabbing the right ankle. If you can't grab your right ankle, do what we just did. Press your hips into the mat. Inhale, elongate the spine and lift. And exhale down. And again, elongate the spine as you inhale and lift. And exhale down. One more time on this side. Inhale, lift. And exhale down and release. Let's change sides. So let's take the right hand in front. Let's grab hold of that left ankle. And then when you're ready, press the hips into the mat. Inhale, elongate and lift. And exhale down. Make sure you're not throwing your head back. Don't worry if you don't lift up very high. Inhale, press the hips into the floor and lift. And exhale down. One last time. Inhale, lift. And exhale down. And relax. Let's come up. Let's sit back. Let's have a nice stretch out there. Come up into sitting. Let's just finish off, everyone. Let's cross the arms over, doesn't matter which way, and exhale round through the spine. And inhale, sit nice and tall. Cross the arms the other way. Exhale around through the spine. And inhale, sit nice and tall. Link the fingers. Inhale, raise your arms above your head. Exhale, take the arms out to the side and just circle your shoulders back. And let your arms relax. And that's today's class. Well done. I'm going to keep you there chilling. I'm just going to turn off the YouTube live stream because I'm on Instagram here too. And then we'll have a little chat. Okay, so let me turn the live stream off.